So in this section, we're talking about the concept of relative maximum and relative minimum, and also just quick, I guess, Latin lesson. The plural of maximum is maxima. So if you hear me saying that, that's, two maximums would be, two maxima, really. Okay, so we're looking for what are called relative max or relative min on our graphs. This is different from a global max. So what we're looking for is something that's the maximum relative to the stuff that's immediately surrounding it, or something that's a minimum point relative to the stuff that's immediately surrounding it. So for example, if we look at number 8, visually, let's just try to identify the max and min here. So this point represents a relative max, because if you go immediately to its left and immediately to its right, the parts of the function that are immediately surrounding it, that's kind of a peak, right, compared to its immediate neighbors. So notice that it's not a global max, meaning right here we have the point 0, 0, but if I go over here, it looks like we have the point -5, 1, for example. That's higher, right? That's objectively higher than the relative max that I just identified. But we're just talking about something that's a peak relative to its immediate neighbors. So that's why we're using this relative terminology. So it's a relative max. All right, and then if we look over here, these 2 points visually are relative min, short for relative minimum. All right, so the key with these is answering the question that's being asked. So I just wanted to point out, when you're asked for the maximum function value or the minimum function value or something to that effect, the value of the function that's the max or min, that's going to be your y value in your ordered pair. If they're saying at which x value does this occur, what's the location at which this occurs, any wording like that, then that's the x value in your ordered pair. So we can see that our relative max occurs at the ordered pair 0, 0. So the relative max of the function is the y value of 0. And at which x value does this relative max occur? That occurs at an x value of 0. All right, for the relative min, or in this case mins, there are 2 relative minima. The relative minimum value of the function, we've got -2, -2, and we've got 2, -2. So when it's asking for the relative minimum value, that's this matching y value of -2. So y equals -2. At which x value do these minimum values of the function occur? They occur at -2 and +2. So those are my 2 x values. Okay. And sometimes in questions we'll switch the order, so we'll say at which x values does the relative minimum occur at x equals -2 and x equals 2. What is the relative minimum value of the function -2? So just pay attention to the order and what exactly they're asking. All right, for number 9, let's just visually identify our high and low points, our peaks, that's a max, and our valleys, that would be a min. So -1, 4 is a visual relative max. 2, -2 visually is a relative min. So for our relative max, the maximum function value is our y value of 4, and it occurs at the x value of -1. Relative minimum value of the function is -2, and this occurs at the x value 2.